In this lesson, we're going to see how we can create our main game state script and see how we can dynamically change our gameplay experience based off of what stage of the game we are currently at. This is going to be incredibly important to help guide our gameplay by detecting whether we are in danger mode or safe mode, and also whether this door over here is locked or unlocked. So let's get started in taking our first step to set up our game state functionality. So what we have to do here is quite simple. All we need to have happen is our character. He's going to walk over and set off this first trip plate here, and this is going to set our game to danger mode. And what that means is this axe is going to start swinging, these moons are going to change. There's going to definitely be some visual changes to indicate to our player something dangerous is happening. So what we need to do is we need to create an empty game object within our scene. Game object, I'm just going to create that. I'm just going to say game state. And why did you not update for me? Game state, okay. So now we have this empty game object within our scene. I'm just going to reset its position, zero it out, and I'm just going to drag it up and out of the way over here. It doesn't matter at all where the position is. And I'm just going to change this icon so I can see it more clearly. Let's say yellow, game state. So now we know this empty game object is holding our script, which kind of drives our whole game state workflow within our game. So why did we create this empty game object? Because we're going to have to create a script right now. Let's go new C# script, and we're going to say game state. And this script needs to be applied to any game object within our scene so it can run when we hit play. So let's go to our game state object and let's apply it to this. So now this script exists within our game. And now our player's not going to see this at all, so they're not even going to know it's there. It's invisible to them. But as long as it's in the scene view here, it's in our game, that means it's going to be functioning and running in the background of our game to help control everything. Alright, so let's go down and open up that game state script here. Okay, I'm just going to close off these other scripts that we were working on. And I'm just going to zoom in a little bit here. Alright, so now let's clean up our script. Alright. Now let's create our variables. Game state variables. What does our game state keep track of right now? So the first thing I wanted to keep track of is if we're in danger mode or not. So let's go ahead and create a variable to store that information. Let's go public bool for true or false if we're in danger mode or not. Danger mode. And at first when we start the game, it's going to be false because we're going to start it in safe mode. We haven't tripped off anything now, so it's going to be safe until we walk into that plate. So now that's pretty much all we need to do for the first step of our script here. So I'm going to save this. I'm actually going to make a comment and say our main danger mode. Okay, so now I'm just going to close off mono-develop for now. We have our script created, and now when we click on our game state, we're going to see danger mode, currently false. The next step is setting up when our character actually walks into this plate, it's going to set this off and make that change. So I'm going to actually create, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to say add component. I'm going to say box collider 2D. And now I'm going to move this collider up to cover this trip plate. So let me get on in there. Alright, it's going to make it nice and close up to this here. So let's scale this just so it fills up the perimeter of this box. And scale it to fit this guy here. Move it up a little bit. There we go. That looks good to me. Zoom back out. I want to keep this trigger, set it to a trigger. I want to keep this trigger on this game state object because that's directly affecting it. It just makes it a bit more cleaner and organized in our scripting process. Makes it a bit more simple. We don't have to actually link to this object to get this component. Just my preference for this. So now let's open up our game state script again, and now let's set our script to detect when our player walks into this trigger, make danger mode false or true. So let's open this up again. Okay, so now remember how we do this before. We're always going to use a trigger to detect when we're colliding with this, right? So let's go and say void, the good old on trigger enter, because as soon as we enter that parameter there, I'm gonna create my collider variable, collider 2D, always name it other for a standard thing here. And now let's go create our wonderful curly brackets. And now let's say, what do we want to have happen? If other variable that we've created for the collider, if this collider is on a game object with the tag equal to, remember the two equal signs if it wants to be equal to, and player, it's equal to player. And I also want to say if this variable up here, danger mode, is false. And that's why I added this exclamation mark in front of it here, because we only want to change into it if we're not in it already, right? And now, so if our player walks into this trigger and danger mode is false, we are going to set danger mode to true. Simple as that. So let's go danger mode equals true. Simple script. So now let's go up here and let's write a comment, say, when our player walks into trip plate, we trigger danger mode to start. Okay, I'm going to save this script and let's close that off for now. So let's hit play. And now what should happen is as soon as we walk into this trigger, oh, there's an error. What did I forget to do? See if you guys can figure it out. On trigger to untrigger enter. I believe that should be a 2D. I always tend to forget that sometimes because it is a 2D trigger. So that should clear it up. Yep, there we go. All right, so let's hit play. And let's say I'm going to walk into this invisible trigger 2D. Okay, and let's see. I'm actually going to select our game state here. Just like so. And let's watch for that danger mode variable over here. See if it goes on. There we have it. All right, so our danger mode went off. Perfect. All right, so now we have all these things that can start happening now. So things are going to get pretty interesting. In this lesson, I just wanted to show you how we can actually create the game state and what we're going to use it for, and then how we can actually set it to trigger in our game different states of the game to happen. We now know from looking at this checkbox that we've triggered danger mode, but our player has no idea what just happened. For all they know, nothing happened because they just walked and they didn't see anything. So in the next lesson, we're going to go ahead and hook up some visuals to this to really let our player know what's going on. Something's changed, something's happening. So let's go ahead and take care of that in the next lesson. So I'll see you all there.